Hello everyone. So welcome back to my channel. In this session, I'm going to explain a variety of practice questions on Java, which covers the concepts of data types, and operators, operator expressions, and inheritance. It covers the concept of constructor, object creation, static block, and private access specifier, final keyword, inner classes. These many concepts will be covered in this session. So it will be a long session, lengthy session, but I'm trying to give a majority of the information. So I will not take more than 1 minute for each and every question. Okay, let me continue. So suppose if I had taken this program, so whenever we see this program, uh, we'll assume that the output will be a method, otherwise it won't bother about anything. So but how the each and every program will be evaluated, otherwise will be traced, I'm going to explain. That means how the program will be executed in the system, I'm going to explain now. So let us assume that, so when I created a constructor, that is when I call the constructor first, uh, first underscore c equal to new first underscore c. So I'm going to allocate a memory. So that is yeah this is the way of allocating the memory. So let us assume that I'm going to allocate a memory for the first underscore c. Some address will be allocated like 3 2 4 5 6 7 8 9. So it's a 32-bit address. Fine. After allocating the memory, then all the data members and member functions will be accessible to this particular memory location. So now this c is object which is capable of getting the information from this particular class. Okay, fine. So whenever I created any class, automatically there will be a default access specifier called as empty. First underscore c access specifier will be automatically created with the default constructor has been created automatically. First underscore c is a constructor. So now I invoked the constructor using new operator. So then the memory has been allocated. Then so what will happen whenever I call the constructor? Before calling the constructor, the other properties of class will be executed. What are the other properties? This is a method which cannot be called, which cannot be executed without any call. So this is a block which is called as instance block. It will be automatically executed. Okay, and this is a constructor with wide keyword. So this will be executed if you call only. And this is a static block. This also gets automatically executed. So now, but first priority will be given to the static. So static block will be the first one which will be executed whenever you're calling the constructor. So what is the output then? So the first statement, it will be printed as static block. Okay, whenever this is the first step, so this is the 1.1. Yeah. So after calling the static block, then it will call the instance block. What is the instance block? This is 1.2. So instance block data is just instance block. Yeah, then after calling the instance block, then it will call the constructor. Constructor doesn't have anything, so it will leave. So then the next statement is c dot first underscore c. I'm calling a constructor. So then this statement is valid, and we can create like this. Then this is 2.1. Only one statement will be called. So that will be constructor. So constructor will be printed here. Then the third step will be executed as now. So this is my method. Whenever you are calling my method, then this will be executed. This is the 3.1. So the next output will be method. So what this program is going to tell is, so whenever you are writing Java program, the first block that gets executed is static block, then instance block, then variable declaration and all those things. Then the constructor will be called. So at the same time, static has highest priority. That's why main function will be called first whenever you're writing any program. So fine, this is proper. I'm coming to the second question. Second question, public class my first. So which is a static void main, and I'm going to call my first object equal to new my first of n. So whenever I'm creating an object, I'm going to call the constructor. The default constructor is my first. according to the previous explanation, so before calling this function, so all the other things will gets executed, all the other things gets executed. What are the other things? The first thing is static block. So what is the static block? A equal to 60. A is a variable which is declared or not? Yeah, it has been declared. Yeah, so static int a equal to 10. So this 10 initial value has been modified to 60. That is the first step. Yeah, what is the second step? Static block. After that we are going to call the instance block. Instance block is b equal to 30 and n equal to 20. So fine, so now what is the n value now? 20. What is the b value? 30. These values gets modified. Fine, int c. So since it is a global variable, so it will be modified to class variable. It will be initialized to 0. So my first of n, what is the value of n now? N value is 20. Since n is not available in that main method, then it will go for the global, that is class member. Class member n is 20 value. So 20 will be passed to this constructor. So now this m value will be modified to 20. Okay. So before that m value gets modified. So what will happen in the sense? So my first of n constructor will be called. So that means we are passing 0 because it is a static and n value. First we are passing 0 to this. Then all this operation will be happen. This n value is 0 only. Yeah, fine. So now this a then after calling this constructor, it is going to print the values of a value as 60. B value is 30, C value is 0, N value is 20, M value is 0. This is the output of this program. So this program also giving the details that, so before calling the constructor, first all the other global variables gets initialized, then only the constructor will be called. So in Java, suppose if you are writing anything with \u, then it will be called as Unicode escape sequence. So this can be how it can be how Unicode escape sequence can be written as \u0021. Suppose if you take 2 Unicode, it is \u 20b9. So fine. So what is the proper syntax for the Unicode declaration? So the Unicode declaration will be like this. So this is the valid syntax. All others are invalid. So fine. So now the next one is suppose if you are writing a equal to 35/0 and if you forgot semicolon, then it will be called a syntax error because that will be passed at the syntax level. At syntax level we are not going to execute anything, but whenever you are performing 35/0 at the runtime only this values gets reflected. So 35/0 is infinity, it's not possible to perform the operation. At that time if you are unable to perform any operation at the runtime, then it will be called as exception. So the answer is runtime exception. Yeah, coming to the question number 6. Evaluate the following Java expression. Whenever you are evaluating the expressions, you have to identify the priority of the operators. Here one is post incrementation operator, that is having higher priority, then pre-incrementation operator, then next priority, then we have the plus minus, so equal priority. So the priority order is like this is high, this is low. So at the same time, if you have two equal priority operators, that means plus and minus are plus minus plus are there, which one is going to execute is nothing but that will comes under operator associativity. That means first of all we are going to give the priority for operators. Then if two operators are having equal priority, then we are going for the operator associativity. So based on that one, I am going to evaluate this expression plus z plus y minus y plus z plus x plus plus. So the first one which will get executed is 3 plus plus, that is 3 only. This is the first step. Then plus plus z, it's a pre-incrementation, so it will be 11. So this is the second step. Yeah, the next one is since all the operators are having equal priority, then it will be left to right. So 11 plus y value is 5, so 11 plus 5 is 16. This is third step. Then 16 minus y value is 5, so which is equivalent to 11. This is fourth step. 11 and this one is z value is 10, so 11 plus 10 is 21. So 11 plus 11, z value is 11 already because it's modified here. Now z value is 11, so it is 22. It is fifth. And 22 plus 3 is equivalent to 25. This is the last step. So 6 steps, that means total 6 steps are involved, and the answer is 25. So fine, this concept is going to cover the operator precedence and associativity. So fine, so this one is going to cover the conditional statement. See, suppose if you have variables called as count, the count value is initialized to 1. Yeah, fine. And I'm going to check the count less than or equal to 15. True. Then I'm going to perform the operation called as count mod 2. This is 1 because see, count is initialized to 1, count is less than or equal to 1, 5 and 15, and count mod 2, that is 1. So 1 means it is nothing but 1 equal to 1 is true. So then what I'm going to print? Stars. So I'm going to take the two variables. One is the stars, which will keep the stars count, that is 1 time now. So, and similarly another variable which is going to hold the plus counts. This is 0 8. So now count plus plus, count gets incremented. This is also true. And count mod 2 is equivalent to 0. So this will get incremented. That means 0 is nothing but this is a false statement. So this is a totally ternary statement. If condition is true, then this block. If condition is false, then this block. So first case true, the first block gets executed. Second case false, this block gets executed. Now third case, count mod 2 is 1, so this one will get executed. Fourth case, then this value will be 0, this one gets executed. Likewise fifth, sixth, and seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and whenever count value is 15, so 15 less than or equal to 15, that is true. Then 16, whenever it becomes 16, 16 less than or equal to false. Whenever this value is false, I'm going to come out of the loop. Sorry, end while. Now, so how many times the star has been printed? 8 times. How many times the pluses has been printed? Have been printed, that is 7 times. So the answer is 3. Fine. So which one of the following loop declaration is not valid? So whenever you are declaring loop like this process, so initially I value is 2, next time 2 into I, that is 2 into 2 4, next time I value 2 4 into 4 16, next time 16 into 16 some 256. So likewise whenever it is 256, it is going to be terminated. 2 4 16 will be valued. This is correct. And next one is I value is 20, I greater than or equal to 2, I minus minus, that is 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, and so on, 4, 3, 2, and the loop gets terminated. So this is also valid. So I equal to 7, I less than or equal to 77, I plus plus. So this is 7, 14, then 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77. So this is also gets executed. How many times we are going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times this loop gets executed. Fine. But this one, I value is 99. I divide by 9. I divide by 9 is nothing but 11, but I am not modifying the I value. So again 99, again 99, again 99. So it will go for infinite process. So this is not valid. So fine, which option is false about final keyword? Final keyword in the sense, in C, suppose if you want to declare any constant, then that can be done by using const keyword, int equal to a equal to 13. So this is a constant. Hash define a 49. This is also a constant. But in Java, if you want to create any constant, that can be done by using final keyword. Final int a equal to 56. This is constant. Similarly, so final class also can be declared, which cannot be overridden by any subclasses. If you are writing any class also final, means that is a constant class, we cannot inherit. So final method cannot be overridden in its subclasses, true. And a final class cannot be extended, true. A final class cannot extend other classes, true. A final method can be inherited, this is false, this is not possible. So this is correct answer. Yeah, fine. The next concept that I'm going to cover is string and string buffer, where string is a immutable class and the string buffer is a mutable class. So string buffer can with the string buffer we can modify the content of the given string. So let us assume that string s1 is equivalent to complete. So that means s1 is nothing but COMPLETE. This is complete. In that s1 dot character of 1 comma I, so this one will be modified with 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So this one will be modified with I, and character of 7 comma D, so this one will be modified with D. So the output string will be CIMPLETD. So this will be the output of the string. So fine. Which of the following string is a mutable class? Either string buffer or string builder are mutables, and string is a immutable, byte short as well. And next one is int values of equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Int I equal to 0, I less than y, I plus plus, system dot out dot println. So whenever you are doing like this, you have to declare the value of I. Declare the value of y. Fine. The next question is, in Java, all byte short and long int are by default. So what these are called as integers. Integer classes. The smallest integer in Java is byte and size is 8 bits. So likewise byte will be 8 bits and short will be 16 bits or 2 bytes, and int will be 4 bytes or 32 bits, long will be 8 bytes or 64 bits. Fine. The next one is static test. So static int x equal to 100. Fine. So this is the value that it is. Anyways, first we are starting from here. So static test st equal to new static test of. So I'm going to allocate a memory for st. This is one object, one class. So pointed by st. And the class st1 equal to new static test of. I'm going to create another one. So this is st1. So it may have any number of data members as well as member functions. However, only one static variable is available. Static variable is going to share the common memory. So that is that x variable. This class is having one variable called as static. So this is static. So x equal to 100. The same memory will be occupied by both st and st1. For only static variables. So st.x plus equal to 1 in the sense this one will be modified to 100. Whenever we are getting 101. So whenever we are going to get st.x, 101 only will get. st1.x also 101. So this is equivalent to 202. So whenever we are creating static variables inside the class, static members, they will share the common memory that I wanted to say. Yeah, fine. So public class test, short x equal to 5, fine. X value equal to 5. X equal to x into 5, so fine. X equal to 5 into 5. So this is short, this is int. So short into int 25, this will be integer. Now integer has to be stored into short. So this is not at all possible, because if you have any bucket like this, this is in this is a int bucket and this is short bucket. We cannot keep int bucket into the short bucket. So this is called as loss of data. So that's why it throws an error. So fine. So previously I have created static variable. Now I removed the static. So int x equal to 100. So st1 equal to st1 memory is this one. In this in this was some variable x equal to 100. Okay, and similarly the next variable is called as st1. So this is going to have one variable called as x equal to 100. Now st dot x equal to 150. So this one will be modified to 150. Now st dot x equal to 150. st1 dot x equal to 100. So this one will be 250 output. So just this program is going to differentiate between the static variable and normal variable. Normal variable, two different memory locations. Static variable, common memory location. So fine. So this is not random. This is a round. Yeah. So our float f equal to 1 divided by 4 into 10. So whenever I am performing 1 divided by 4, so then it will be equivalent to 0.0. So this is 0 only. Into 10 is equivalent to 0 only, because it is integer division. So integer division in the sense 1 divided by 4, 0 times 0 and remainder is 1. So quotient value will be taken here, 0 into 10 is 0. So math int I equal to math dot round, round of 0 is equivalent, 0.0 is equivalent to 0 only. So however f value will be modified to 0.0 and after performing the math dot round it will be modified to 0 only. So the output will be 0. So fine. Now the next question is class test, int k, boolean bool, static int p. So a white print of system.out.print, all these things are fine. So I'm going to start the operation from here. Test t equal to new test of. So that means there is a class so with the variable called as with the object called as t. Then it is having three variables. One is of k, integer, and second one is bool, boolean, and third one is p of integer, but it is a static variable. Shares the common memory. Let it be. So whenever I am going to call the print method, so if it is a global class variable, directly 0 will be assigned, boolean will be false, even static variable also 0 only. So 0, false, 0 will be the output. Now the next one, string st equal to new string of hello, string st1 equal to new string of st. So in this case, this one will be object passed to this one. So st is going to have different address. st1 is also going to have different address. Five, six, 7, 9 letter p. So system.out.println st equal to st1. So this value and this value gets compared. Both are not equal, so it will be returning as false. That means what are compared here? The reference values, addresses are compared. But in the same program, in the next program, I initialize directly hello to the st and hello to the st1. In this case, the values gets compared and it will show the value as true. This is a basic important thing that you have to remember. And next one is string s1 equal to, so s1 equal to, okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6, that means it's a concatenation. So in this case it will be used as a concatenation operator. Yeah, at the same time, in the next program, if you check, so s2 equal to 1 2 3 s2 equal to 1 2 3 plus 4 5 6, it will be called as addition operator. So plus is a overloaded operator which can be used for concatenation and which can be used for the addition. So now now you can see this value will be 1 2 3 4 5 6, that is 9 7 5. So the output will be s1 equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6 and s2 equal to 5 7 9. The next question, string str equal to null. Okay, fine. If str dot length, so str is nothing but which is null, pointing to no memory. Str dot length, if you are going to check null value, how you are going to check the length? It shows a runtime exception. Yeah. So I have covered till this now in this video. So because I cannot keep the lengthy video of 60 seconds, so this video is going to explain up to this part, and remaining 50 questions are remaining 26 questions are there. I'm going to explain the same thing in the next video. So keep watch the version 2, that is part 2 of the practice questions. Practice questions part 1 is going to cover up to this. Practice questions part 2 will be explained by tomorrow. So thank you friends, please like and subscribe and give your valuable comments after watching this video if you're liking it. Thank you so much.